Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Local Pundit. I'm Josh Anthony. This is your match day preview for Wrexham AFC versus Reading FC. Yes, Reading is traveling down to the STōK Cae Ras, and we're going to have a battle tomorrow morning, and I'm excited about it. Morning for me, afternoon for everyone else because it's 3 o'clock kickoff. So this is great. As you can see at the Reading, pumped up about this one, and this is what we live for, having a good chat, because today we're going to have James on from Reading FC Away Days. Going to bring him in right now. Everyone, be nice. Get into the chat, but be nice. That's the warning. That's the one warning, which is great. So awesome. And there he is, James. Welcome, James.
Hello.
Yeah, hello. Thanks for coming on.
My pleasure.
Yeah, good. Thanks for coming on. Like I said, I warned the chat. Everyone be nice. It's got to be good. So awesome. Good to have you. And Reading FC Away Days. You guys have a pretty good start to the season, but every guest I bring on, I usually go with an origin story about how'd you get involved in football and Reading and the show you work on.
So Reading's my local team. I've supported Reading since I can remember. Being a baby, my first game was at 6 months. I've Reading through and through. You're born and bred in the town. The connection that you have to the club is something that you won't feel with anything else. Started the YouTube channel years ago with my friend, me and Adam, who people would know, Reading FC Away Days channel know. Went to every game of the season, would just constantly go, do match day experiences, previews, stuff like that. Fell out of love with the game a little bit. Not football, but the YouTube side of things anyway. And we dropped out. Didn't come around for 6, 7, 8 years. Came back around, and been back on the scene, should we say, for the last 2 years. And I'd say loving every minute of it, but with the ownership situation and relegation and stuff like that, I wouldn't stretch to it. But absolutely love it.
Well, it's good to have you back in the game. We just started like a year ago ourselves, but it's fun. It's good to be to churn out and get things out there. It's almost therapeutic, and I'm sure a lot of people out there look to you and something to have news and updates and be a part of the community. So I'd say that's awesome to hear. And our community is here too. Nikki D's in the house. Yo, Nick, how you doing, John? And John Hampton says hello and welcome, James. And Kim also says welcome, James. Preview video this morning. Good stuff. Yes, we're going to dive into that. We're gonna dive into that real quick. Just tell us a little bit about what's going on with the embargo. Not to start off on a negative, but do you want to give us a little bit of history on what happened and where we're at, how we got here?
Yeah, of course. So you go back to 2017. Obviously, Reading were in the playoff final. The first game in charge of the Die Young ownership was Reading's playoff final game against Huddersfield for the championship. Mm-hmm. Lost the game on penalties, unfortunately, and since then it's been a bit of a spiral for Reading. Die Young hasn't always had the worst intentions, but money mismanagement, spending money in the wrong places, too high of wages, rejecting bids on players when the correct move is to sell the player, points deductions, causing relegations, obviously HMRC issues. Reading have gone through a torrid time over the last, realistically over the last 5 years, but more recently over the last 2 years has been absolutely horrible. Having to put up with Paul Ince as a manager, for starters, is one of the things that, we should be stricken off the list just for that, right? But no, it's been a horrible time, but the light is there at the end of the tunnel. Rob Cohig, the former Wycombe Wanderers owner, seems to be getting his taker over the line. He's been meeting fans, he's been meeting staff, he's been at the last couple of games. Seems like everything is in place for a takeover for him to come in. The manager situation, Ruben Celes is one of the most exciting coaches in the league. He's a young, hungry manager who tactically is been spot on for the last 6 months. He works really well with young players, and that's the group that Reading have got at the moment. Reading have an average age of, I think it's 22, and the way that they've played the last 6 months from November to now, they would have if the season would have started in November, Reading would have finished 7th last year. Obviously, that's if buts and maybes, but the torrid time at the start of the season compared to November onwards, Reading have been on an upward spiral, on an upward charge, and hopefully it continues.
Yeah, Reading, I have no problem with Reading. Obviously, tomorrow we're going to go at it, which is great. And, it is tough to obviously go through those things. But, and I bring that back to some of the things that Parkinson had talked about, what he was talking about, things that happened at Bolton, and he related it back to Reading, which is kind of interesting, too. I'm moving on to the Phil Parkinson side of things. Legend, played had 400 appearances, 92 to 03. Is that correct? How is that going to be for him getting his reception from the fans when they do the STōK tomorrow?
Well, he's obviously played Reading a few times as manager. And there's always a link whenever the Reading vacancy comes up. There's always a link with Phil Parkinson's in. Is he going to come back to Reading? And for me, he's a Reading legend. Listen, over 350 games for the club. Somebody that has won a couple of promotions as well with Reading. He's a legend. The fans won't boo him. There'll be a good reception for Parkinson. His name still gets sung all the time at Christmas. How many Parkinsons? 12 Parkinsons. The 12. The Christmas song, the 12 gifts of Christmas. I can't remember what it is off the top of my head, but yeah, Parkinson is the man around Reading.
That's awesome. Well, it's good to know. I mean, hopefully it'll be a good spirited match, and you guys have done fairly well to start the season. Let's be fair. I think you've had a few games. I think you drew 1-1 against Birmingham City, opening the league. Is that so? And then a 2-0 win at Wigan, and then you beat West Ham under 21s 3-1. Tell us about real quick Birmingham City. All eyes are on Birmingham City. Yes, eyes are on Wrexham just because of Rob. How do you say his last name?
McElhenney.
All right. Yeah. Awesome. Well done, Rob McElhenney. But yeah, tell us about Birmingham City. So just about the league a little bit, how they look for you guys.
Reading came in there as the underdogs. The fans were expecting to be wiped away. Birmingham was expecting Reading to be wiped away, and we went in there and was absolutely outstanding. The press was brilliant from Reading. They didn't allow Birmingham a second to be able to settle themselves. And I think that might be what you can expect on Saturday as well. Reading will press high. They won't let Wrexham settle. If there's an early goal, then something could happen. Obviously, game plans get thrown out the window straight away with early goals. But Reading won't allow Wrexham to settle at the start of this game. And that's something that will be really important. It's something they didn't allow Birmingham to do. Reading have made good starts this season, and I'm hoping that the trend continues this Saturday. But it was a really good start against Birmingham. They started to peter out after the 60th minute. Legs got a little bit tired. You can't play full throttle for 90 minutes. It's physically impossible. The muscles get tired in the legs, stuff like that. So Reading will look to make that fast start, and they'll look to make their chances. They'll look to finish their chances and make Wrexham pay, hopefully.
Hopefully not. But yeah.
Hopefully not from your side of things.
Yeah. Stoner Combat says, hello everyone, up to town. And Kim says, according to the site I was looking at, Reading has a higher wage bill for players than Wrexham, though not by much. That
would be impossible. I've got to say that site would be the most incorrect website you've been on. Reading have been capped at a wage cap of around £5,000 to £6,000 a week. We can barely offer more than 3,000. Reading are in a state at the moment where we haven't been able to pay a transfer fee for the last 4 years, I think. The whole squad is freezing at the academy. I mean, the academy itself is a Cat 1 academy, in my opinion, one of the better academies in the country. Not the best, but one of the better ones when you look at the past of what we've produced, the likes of Omar Richards, Nelson Abbey, Michael Elise, Danny Loader, players that are all playing in top European clubs. I mean, Nelson Abbey just joined Swansea today, but the heritage of Reading's academy is one of the more historic ones in England at the moment. And yeah, I'm hoping it continues to stay that way. But yeah, at the moment, the wage bill, not a chance it would be higher than Wrexham's.
Glenda says Reading are under embargo, and HEC, did Reading get its new owners?
Not just yet. The takeover is set to be announced soon. Obviously, Cohig, I think that's how you pronounce his last name, has been at games recently, and he's been in attendance, talking to fans, saying that it's going to be over the line. It's just a matter of the approval, and there's things on the other side that are pending, but it should be done soon.
Okay, awesome. Thank you. Stoner Combat Bet, two great teams that are going to be a hell of a match. I think it's going to be a banger. I think both teams are going to be on the front foot. Quickly there, you just mentioned about outgoings. There was a player that went out for £1 million. Is that correct? Recently?
Yeah, Femi Aziz just left the club. Someone that got 9 goals and 9 assists last season. So someone that was quite integral to Reading's attack. He played on the right wing. So he's left. He hasn't actually started this season. He was carrying a bit of an injury as far as we're concerned. But yeah, he's not going to be there. Mamadi Kamara is more than likely going to be the replacement. There's been a few rumours that he's been in a boot, but I haven't seen anything in regards to anything official. But Kamara is someone that is probably going to start, as he started most of the season for Reading this year.
Okay, awesome. The football player audit League One. Wow, I only found this guy from Reading last night. This guy's working hard. Yeah, no, he's doing a great job. Please go subscribe to Reading FC Away Days. Yeah, anyone that puts out content, you got to give mad respect to. So go check that out, and we'll be talking throughout the season too. All right, listen, I did watch your review. It's great. It's a great review. Really good analyzing on both sides of things. Not you need me to tell you that, but we'll. Do I do it now? I don't know. Okay. I'll start this way. From your side of things, what do you see from what your team can do? Obviously, you have Charlie Savage in the middle. You talk about Lewis Wing, Ben Elliott in there, and then we'll leave the Kelvin thing a second. Get that. We'll let that go. But what do you see? What you guys can do to us when you come to the race course tomorrow?
So for Reading this season, the midfield has been integral to the way Reading play. They've created a lot of space in the midfield, and they've been able to find these opportunities that teams can't seem to handle, if that makes sense. Ben Elliott and Lewis Wing have formed a fantastic partnership in the centre of midfield. Lewis Wing has been one of the best central midfielders in League One for going on 2 years now. He was at Wycombe before Reading, probably 3 years, should I say, really. He's been in the division for a long time, and he is one of the better players in League One. Whenever you see pundits talk about who the best players in League One are, Lewis Wing is in that conversation. And he's formed a fantastic partnership alongside Ben Elliott over the last 10 games of last season and the start of this season. Ben Elliott comes from Chelsea. He is from their academy. He is a Cameroonian international, and as someone with the ball at his feet, it just is glued to it. He does not lose the ball. He can find areas of space that other players cannot at all. Normally, Harvey Nibbs will be playing as well in that midfield, someone that is a tireless, hard-working midfielder who was a winger before and has been moved into that central role and has absolutely found his jam for Reading. But Charlie Savage, like you said, is someone that is going to be starting. Harvey Nibbs is injured at the moment, obviously a Welsh international. For me, Savage isn't the finished product just yet. I personally don't have Charlie Savage as someone that I would want to start for Reading Football Club. For me, he goes missing in a lot of games, but there is that side of things where he is a good player who will come up with vital goals and vital assists at times. But for me, Charlie Savage is a bit of a downgrade on Harvey Nibbs in that attacking midfield position. So I'm not going to overly praise him. But at the minute, the midfield has been integral for Reading. And as well, the defence. I didn't really touch on it too much in my preview. I think I might have mentioned it a little bit. But Reading's defence at the moment has been outstanding. It's something that we have struggled with for the last couple of seasons. I saw a statistic today from the last 10 years, I think it was in the EFL, or it might have been 5 years. We have one of the lowest goal differences in the entire EFL, sitting over a minus 100 goal difference. And for me, it was important that Ruben Sellis worked on the defence this year. Now, I saw another statistic as well. When Jarrell Dorset, Tyler Binden and Amadou Mbenge all play, Reading don't lose matches. I think they've played 18 matches together and only lost 3. Now, the right back has always been switched out. At the moment, we've got a central defensive midfielder playing there in Michael Craig. He's slotting in at right back and has looked very good so far for the start of this season. But the more important thing is when them 3 players play together, the defence is so much more assured for Reading.
That good analysis there. But you guys are unbeaten so far this season, which is great. You beat, you drew Colchester and 1-1, so that's pretty good. As you said, mentioned your defense, you probably made some changes on there. What I did hear about the team is that obviously because of the embargo, you have a strong 11. The bench isn't that I don't want to say great, but isn't kind of like us last season.
More than a fair comment, yeah.
Yeah. Kind of like us last season, we had a really good starting 11, maybe 12 or 13, but now we're trying to build up there a little bit too. So coming off the bench, if you were coming off the bench, what is missing there? Is it your defense? Is it your attack? And we'll talk about the attack in a second here too.
For Reading at the moment, the bench is sitting full of 16, 17, 18-year-olds. It's something where Reading are lacking in depth at the moment, and that's because of the restrictions that have been put on the football club. When you look at the bench, it is a very inexperienced bench. I mean, I'm sure Wrexham's bench at the moment has much more experience than Reading's. The best player arguably on the bench at the moment is Jaden Wareham, who just scored his first professional goal for Reading just on Tuesday.
Wow.
again, it's something where Reading are going to struggle and it's going to be an issue. And if injuries do come up, you might see Reading struggle a little bit more. But the starting 11 is more than inept. And as long as you've got a little bit of an energy boost and someone that can come on and press, and if you're looking to defend a lead, I think that's where Reading will be fine. If you're chasing a game, that's where Reading will find it a little bit more difficult, especially with this bench at the moment.
And goalkeeper-wise, how are you guys looking at department?
So Joel Pereira is Reading's goalkeeper, previously of Manchester United. He is someone that's never been able to hold down a number one position at any club, but came in last season and was only coming in as a backup. Came on, and his distribution is so much better than the previous goalkeeper we had, and has also been vital when it comes to making saves and when it comes to just being a leader in that back five or back four, back five. He's someone that commands the defense. He's someone that really helps, and the communication's really key. So he's been a good shot stopper. He's got a little bit of a mistake in him, and his distribution's been quite good. So for me at the moment, there's no complaints when it comes to Joel Pereira. So yeah, we're very happy with the goalkeeping situation at the moment.
You guys play 4-3-3, is that correct?
Yeah, so it's a bit of a hybrid. So you got 4 in the back. You'll have 2 central midfielders, with one of the midfielders being more in an attacking role. Alongside them, I would say the wingers kind of drop into the midfield as well. But when they press high, they're a part of the attack, and then obviously the sole striker up front.
Awesome. Quick question there too. Player B team tomorrow. I don't think that's going to happen. This is Tim. Play the kids.
We don't have a B team at the moment, unfortunately.
The B is the A. Exactly. Reed from STōK Cae Ras says hi, and question before we get to the attack. So question for the Reading guy. His name's James on the channel. So how hard is, as a YouTuber, are you finding to network with other YouTubers in your league? Well, we're here, which is great.
Yeah, I mean, luckily for me, people come to me, which is really nice. I'm somebody that in life at the moment, I've got so much going on outside of the YouTube realm, should I say, that take priority, take any opportunity I can get from other people. So when people reach out to me, I'm more than happy to come on other people's channels and stuff like that. Find the time difficult with a little one, and yeah, just making sure working full time. As long as I can watch the games, put a video out, and get on with it, I'm happy. But yes, when people come to me, I'm more than happy to share the content.
Yeah, and we're grateful to have you on. And I will always, if you just tell me to come on, even if we get spanked, there we go. I'll be there for sure. We'll get to the predictions later, James, in a bit. Okay, quickly here. All right, I'm going to do it. I'm going to just bring you up right here. Here we go. Talk about your attacking.
2 games to start the season on that right-hand side. Kelvin Ehebatchaman as well is someone that Wrexham will need to watch out for on that left-hand side. If he's on the left wing, he'll be coming up against James McLean. And I think Kelvin Ehebatchaman will absolutely have James McLean on toast. I think the skillfulness of Ehebatchaman will be really difficult for McLean to keep up with at left wing back. Look.
All right, you said it. Here we go. He's going to have him on toast. I did what he is good. He's the player that I picked out too. James McLean on toast. Let's talk about it.
I'll stand by the statement. James McLean, mid late 40s now, 30s, right? So for me, if you're coming up against a hungry young winger like Kelvin Ehebatchaman, someone that with the ball at his feet will absolutely run at you. And for me, he's an exciting dribbler with the ball, and he'll be looking to cut in on that right foot. And I'm just saying, he's the man to watch out for.
Okay, he's here. He's the danger man on toast. And I honestly, you got to back your team, you got to back your club. So I respect that totally too. So when I did watch the highlights of your last game, I was like, oh, who's this guy? I was like, why don't we have this? So fair play. James McLean's a lot of shithouse there. I'm wondering if I could see James going in on him early, and just letting him know he's there.
Yeah, the whole of England hates James McLean. I think Wrexham's the only place that likes James McLean. So listen, if I can see Ehebatchaman put him on his ass a few times, I'm not going to complain at all.
Awesome. It's going to be a good battle there. This is what brings you up to the next thing too. Put Ravon on him. So we talked Ravon off. I know you didn't get a chance because you were going through your team. Let's talk Ravon on our side of things. We'll move it over just briefly to what you see on the Wrexham side of things, which you did a great analysis on, by the way. Ravon, who what do you make of him? Could he stand up against? You think he'd be a better matchup against Kelvin?
Yeah, so Sebastian Ravan, I want to make an apology, first of all, on my video to Wrexham fans, as I completely forgot about Sebastian Ravan. When going through the transfers in, he was someone that had a question mark next to the fee and was someone that I just completely missed. So apologies for that, first of all. I know a few people got a little bit disappointed that I didn't mention Ravan. Listen, I think that he is a good player. I think he was at Rotherham last year, someone that I'm not 100% familiar with, which, listen, most of the league, people aren't going to be familiar with the people they come up against 99% of the time. A lot of the time, you're going to see some players that you know and stuff like this. But listen, he's an under 21s player that I'm not 100% familiar with. When watching him against Bolton, not bad. Do you know what I mean? So, as someone that I'm not going to sit here and claim to be an expert and know a lot about, as listen, he was an Aston Villa under 21s player, played for Rotherham in the division above before. So not going to claim to be an expert, not going to claim to really know who he is. But from the sounds of it, from a lot of Wrexham fans, he's definitely one of the main men at the club this year.
Yeah, he's got bags of pace too. But you talked about the midfield, and I think our midfield, I think it's gonna be an open game tomorrow. For whatever reason, I just have a feeling it's gonna be an open game, a lot of chances. I don't know, or it's gonna be a 0-0. Granted, you know what I mean. I don't think it's gonna be high.
Right?
Huh?
So it would be classic football if it was a 0-0. Two of the more attacking teams in the league.
Yeah, and just grinding it out like gears going at each other. Yeah, absolutely. He said maybe put Ravan on Calvin could do, and then red cards for Jameson. Of course, yeah. There you go. You'll know him tomorrow. Jesus Christ, talk about Ravan. The midfield again. You have a good makeup with Lewis Wing and Ben Elliott and Savage in there. Our midfield, which we got Dobson, Elliott Lee, and Andy Cannon. I think that Rathbone might get a start tomorrow. You mentioned Rathbone in your preview on your side of things. Do you know a little bit more about him? And what do you see our danger other than obviously Mullen is not going to be starting? Where do you see we can hurt you?
Yeah, so Ollie Rathbone, obviously someone again that's come through that Rotherham system. I think again was someone that was previously at Manchester United. So someone that's obviously coming from a talented academy and someone that obviously must have a bit about him. If you're at the Manchester United academy, you must have something about you. For me, George Dobson, though, was the standout signing in the summer. I thought, for me, I said it in the preview as well, I think George Dobson wasn't going to leave Charlton unless a championship club came calling. I thought the Nathan Jones project at Charlton was one of the more exciting ones this year, and I thought he would be an integral part of that midfield. Obviously, the project at Wrexham, and I don't know if there was maybe an influence of higher wages and stuff like that. But listen, the project at Wrexham obviously must be exciting to any player. It's obviously back-to-back promotions. It's a winning mentality at the moment at Wrexham. So I understand why he's left. And for me, George Dobson would have been the signing that I would have been a lot more excited about. Obviously, with Ollie Rathbone, he's now entering his prime of football, 27 years old. So he's going to start to be putting in these performances where you're thinking, wow, this is the best central midfielder we've got at the club. And I think you spoke about, was it Elliott Lee as well?
Yeah, big
in the attacking midfield position. He's obviously someone that has been with the project at Wrexham for a while now, right? So he's someone obviously you guys are familiar with. He's someone that will know the system, will know the tactics. He will know how he wants to play around the players around him. So I think it's very important. You've got a new midfield with obviously Dobson and Rathbone. So if those two guys aren't up to speed together straight away, it might be a little bit difficult because you need to know the patterns and the play and stuff like that. And when you're in a game time situation, it's always going to be a little bit different. This Reading group have worked together now for a year and a half. So they start to know, they know the patterns and the play and when players are going to make these runs, when they're going to cut back, if they're going to make a Hollywood ball, stuff like that. So I think if the two have got that partnership and the chemistry together already, it's going to be a difficult afternoon for Reading. But listen, if not, I think the space in the midfield will be there.
Yeah. See, Rathbone hasn't gotten a start yet. It's just been Andy Cannon and Dobson. So I think he'll probably go with Dobson, Cannon, and Big L in there. But I'd like to see Rathbone get in. Obviously, we know Mullen is injured, still coming back from back surgery, so we're going to see how he can shape up. Probably up front, we'll have JM, Marriott, and I'd probably say Palmer. We were talking about Marriott earlier. Threatening, misses a few chances, but you seem to know him fairly decently as well. Do you think he can threaten your back line? And did we talk about your defenders a little bit? Maybe there's something there we can get at. What can we do to get your back line?
So to get through to the back line at the minute, Reading's defence this year, the organisation has been really good from Reading. I don't know if I spoke about it literally a couple of minutes ago, but Reading, or if we talk about it offline, but Reading's defence for the last couple of years has been awful. But this year and for the back end of last year, started to see a lot of improvement, and it's came when them three players have played together. If you've got Tyler Binden there, he's what you would call a Rolls Royce of a football player. He's someone that makes everything looks absolutely fantastic with what he does. Amadou Mbengue is the athlete out of the two. He's somebody that has come through the French side of football. He was scouted by Reading and someone that was absolutely randomly picked up and has become a little bit of a cult hero at Reading. He's someone that won't be afraid to give it a bit large to an opposition crowd as well, which I'm hoping he doesn't do, because I know the fortress, that is the racecourse ground, and obviously the crowd can get on their back. I think somebody told me to look up a quote that Sam Vokes had about the atmosphere at Wrexham the other day when they played Wickham. So I'm hoping he doesn't do that, but he's the athlete out of the two. He's someone that will give it a little bit more to a player. He's someone that will be contesting for them balls in the air. He can jump as high as anything. He'll be the one that's running in back to track back and get the ball back. The Reading play a high line, and look, at the minute they're very focused, and the defensive shape that Reading have had has been really strong this year. We obviously said about Jack Marriott as well. He's somebody that Reading fans will be familiar with. He's been playing in the Championship, League One for a long time now. He's obviously someone that was at Derby, I think, before Peterborough. And I think you guys got him from Fleetwood. So he's someone that Reading fans will be familiar with. Like I said before to you offline, someone that, for me, if you're wanting to go for promotion, maybe an older Jack Marriott isn't the guy that you want up front. Maybe a little bit past it now, not too much. I'm not going to say that because I don't want it to bite me for tomorrow. When Jack Marriott inevitably bagged a hat-trick against us. But for me, I think that Reading's defence is a lot stronger than it was last year, but obviously Wrexham's attack is something that is, again, the threatening side of things.
Yeah, I don't think you have to worry about Mulls. I doubt he'll be ready, maybe in the bench, but I totally doubt that. So we'll see. We're still working our new players in, so I think you probably have to do with JM and Palmer up front, a big lump there. Andy Dub says ding on top. That might be one of your Addy W. I think that might be one of your guys.
That's Adam that used to do the channel. So big shout out to you, Adam.
There you go, Addy. Yep, welcome to see you. Welcome. Awesome. Thanks for coming in. And Lexi says, good afternoon, all. Rathbone keeps getting put into a forward position instead of the midfield. I love to see him in the midfield, and that's what he does. And then we said, Dan Moore says, I keep thinking Rathbone and Rivon worked better. Yep, I think that's right. And then Marie has a question for you. Which team is the more defensive team or offensive team?
I think Wrexham will be the more offensive team. Going back to looking at this season's statistics and something that I mentioned in the preview before, Wrexham have conceded 30 shots this year. And I don't know if that's maybe the attacking approach that you guys have, where you go all out and the games are just like basketball games where you're going back and forth constantly. So I don't think Reading will play with that mentality. Reading are a team that will want you to play their type of game. If Reading are going to be defensive, they're going to be solid and they're going to shop. If it is Wrexham that are going to be controlling the tempo of the game, it's going to be hectic and it's going to be a little bit out of control. And I think that's where Reading will start to struggle. So for me, I think if it's the more defensive team will be Reading and the more offensive team will be Wrexham. It's just dependent on really who can influence the game the most and who can get their style of play over the line, should we say more.
Yeah, I agree too. We against Bolton, we were up against Atosh a little bit too. We kind of dealt with, it took about 20 minutes, took the good punches on them. They could have scored. We could have nicked it. It was a 0-0. I think you're right though. It's like, who's going to get their tactics on up to speed in the game, play the game, not the situation. So I think you're right. Who's going to have the better tactics tomorrow? It'd be interesting to see. And it says Reading. Kim says Reading has sold out the away end, so another full house expected tomorrow. Yes. Are you going to go to the match tomorrow, James? I know you have a.
I'm not there, unfortunately. I'm stuck at work with Reading Festival going on at the moment. I will be at work, but I will be watching the game. Don't tell the workplace that though. But yeah, I'll have means to watch the match. A good old VPN and Royals TV. But again, no one's going to know that.
No one's going. Well, we'll be doing a live watch on too. So if you want to have eyes while we're doing it, you can always pop in and talk smack when we're doing it. Compare your managers. You mentioned it. Your manager is younger, really ambitious, wants to be moving forward, whereas Parkinson's kind of the elder statesman at this point. Is that correct?
Yeah, Phil Parkinson is no stranger to the EFL. Countless promotions with multiple different teams. Ruben Sellis, again, is somebody that is a more newer head coach, somebody that got thrown in the deep end at Southampton and was unfairly sacked. I don't really think he got given an opportunity. He got given a team that was bound to be relegated from the Premier League, then was thrown in the deep end at Reading. No pre-season, no players, and for the first 11, 12 games struggled massively. And I was somebody that was calling for his head. I'll hold my hands up and say that. But then again, like I've said since November, Reading have been absolutely outstanding, and the position in the league table last year would have shown you that Reading would have finished 7th from November onwards. And so far this season, look, it's only 2 games in, but we've started off very well.
Yeah, I think you guys are a good side. I think if you're there, thereabouts. Is Ryan Reynolds going to be there? I do not think so. And Lexi thinks that Mendy will be on the bench. He played last match. He could be. I don't know if he's fully fit. He only played 65 minutes, and I don't think Bix will be out there too. So there we go. A2Z says, I think Wrexham have more possession, which is, it's possible. It's possible. I just want to, if we're going to sit back and let it go on the counter, we'll see. It's just about who's going to get their tactics right. So it's be interesting.
Again, something that I noticed was that Wrexham have had less possession than their opposition in each of their 3 games this season. Wycombe Wanderers, who aren't known as a possession team, had more possession than them, which for me would be a little bit of a cause of concern. Obviously, Sheffield United, which is a league above, you would expect them to have more possession and more shots and stuff. And Bolton as well, away from home against arguably what should be a championship side, having less possession. I think you probably will have more possession than Reading in this fixture. Reading are a team that will hit you fast on the counter-attack. So, yeah, I agree with that statement. But again, maybe something for a little bit of cause of concern is having less possession than teams like Wycombe Wanderers.
Yeah, I think it's going to be open but cagey. Let's see what's going to happen. So I'm excited. You said on we'll wrap it up here. Awesome. By the way, thank you for coming on. I appreciate it. Reading FC away days. So on your channel, go subscribe to his channel. He's got great stuff. Hopefully we can get it back throughout the season for our That's a Wrap show. You said on your channel you're thinking of 1-0, nicking a 1-0 away victory for you guys. Still going to stick to that?
I am. I do think that Reading will win this game by a goal to 0. I think as much as Wrexham have this fantastic attack, I think that Wrexham have got this great record right at the racecourse ground and the fantastic attack and stuff like that. They're an attacking team on the front foot. When you look at the level of competition that they've played, comparing that to Reading Football Club, it's absolute levels above what Reading are. You can only beat what's in front of you. And that's the truest statement that you can throw out there. There's no knock on the teams that Wrexham have played and stuff like that. But I think Reading might show the difference between a team that are a little bit above compared to what Wrexham have been playing recently. You've obviously used to that winning feeling. And what happens if you go a goal behind? Are you used to it? Are you used to being behind and, this team are now cagey and they've got the class to be able to pass it around and now we're going to have to press. So I think it'll be an interesting game. I am going to stick by the 1-0. I think there will be space in the midfield for Reading. It's a team that haven't played together a lot in the centre of midfield. If it is obviously Rathbone and Dobson that end up playing. And look, I think Reading have got the quality to be able to nick it. And yeah, I'm weirdly confident about Reading. It's something that I haven't been for the last couple of years, but the pre-season Reading have had, the news of the ownership starting to take course now, and the way that Reading have started the season, there's positive vibes around the club at the moment.
No, and I think that you got to stick by your team. The danger man you're saying is going to be Kelvin
Ehibachiman. I got his name wrong for like 4 or 5 months as well. No one decided to point that out to me on the channel either, so I don't think anyone knew how to pronounce his name for a little while.
Danger man Ehibachian. Yeah, okay, 1-0, that works. The football player audit in League One has been logging in players for database from the transfer market in League One. To date, Reading only have 21-man squad, which is lowest in league. They're under an embargo, so that makes sense. There you go. And then Marriott Palmer up front, says A2C. And Wrexham have a fantastic attack with Mullen, so not impressive without. So, yeah, we're going to have to figure that out on our end. My prediction is going to be Dobson and John and McLean will have yellow cards. That's my prediction. I don't know what the score is. So it's like, but awesome. Thanks for coming on, man. This is so good. Maybe we'll do a wrap-up show if you want to come. We'll plan that out, but I really appreciate it. And great insight, and congrats on the success of your channel, which is awesome. So
thank you very much. It's a pleasure having me on. And thank you very much.
You're very welcome. Go subscribe to the Reading FC away days. And on that bombshell, we will see you all soon.